Alright, I'm back for more NeverBlender, for Blender 2.8 for NeverBlender Nights. I mentioned that I was using Linux. I use Linux because it's a free software that feels pretty powerful. I enjoyed it a lot. It was a Windows user from 95 all the way up to Windows 8. But long story short, I've become a big Linux user. I like Ubuntu Mate, or Mate, which is a version of Linux, and I like the dark theme myself, but that's just my preference. Anyhow, enough of that. I mentioned that because I'm big on open source software and free software, and what I'm using currently to record with is Simple Screen Recorder, which is utilized for, or was made for Linux, and it keeps it's pretty simple, but it's pretty powerful. But that's what I'm using to record with, and again, both those programs are free. And then that brings me to Blender. Now, someone may look up here and see two copies of Blender. And that is basically because this is the old 2.79 and this is the new 2.8. And when I installed the 2.8, it just didn't override the old one, and I can still use it if I needed to. So if I wanted to bring it up for whatever reason, as you tell it, look at the difference in loading. Okay, that was 2.79, as you can see there, and that's the older version. And here is the 2.8, and you see how much faster, quick it is. It's snappy. I love it. That being said, I did do. I showed you a couple add-ons, and I just recently added a new add-on. And again, this is Simple Screen Recorder is what I'm using to record on. But the new add-on I went with is for shortcuts. It shows you what your shortcuts. And I just went here, github.com janam Shorcut Vur, and to pick up this add-on. And what it allowed me to do was, so I will hit a couple things to go over real quick before I get into that. I guess was there was a link I gave you for in the bottom of the description, which will be in the description of this one as well, that like T will open up your tools panel or minimize it, and N will open up your properties panels and minimize it. I like to say navigation, N for navigation, only because and it's just my personal idea, the way it makes me think is, you're navigating the object up or down or side to side using the different coordinates, or spinning it, rotating it, scaling it. So that's just how I memorize it personally. But this is a little cheat sheet that over time you'll be able to use if you want. But so hit N will bring out this side panel, and this is what I was talking about. So location of the object. If I click on it and I move it, say I use the letter G. Well, hold on. Before I get in all that, let's just do shortcuts. I want to get this started. Okay, now what this will do was, and I'm going to put it on the right, so it's going to be down here. So anytime I use my mouse or keys, you guys will be able to see, it'll display down there, so you'll know what's going on. So go up here to the view. Now if I click on this object and I hit the letter G, well, hold on, I'm going to have to move that over. Let's put that shortcut one over in the other window side now. So left, there. Now if I have this open and I hit the letter G, that's to grab it. Now I can move it anywhere, but it's pretty free. But if I hit Y, it locks in on the Y axis. If I hit X, it locks in on the X axis. If I hit Z, it'll lock in on the Z axis. So that's what's nice about it. So G, Z, and I can move it around. Now if I want to rotate it, it's R, and it'll rotate any which direction or whatever, right? But if I lock it in on the Z axis, then it'll only rotate along the Z axis. If I lock it in on the Y axis, it'll only rotate along the Y axis. And of course X, same way, it'll only move X. So that's rotate. Now scale, which is S, So hit S for scale, and then I just drag my mouse in and out. Not even have to touch a mouse button or key, and that'll let me scale it to what I want. Now anytime I decide I don't want something, so say I'm scaling it and I haven't clicked anything yet, if I do a right click, it'll just go snap back to where it was. Now if I'm scaling it and I hit a left click, then that puts it right there, it locks it in. So to undo it, it would be Control Z, and Control Z would bring me back to this point. Now if I use the tab key, the tab key will allow me to go into, let me get this toolbar out of the way right here, tool. So if I hit the tab key, that'll then change it from a solid object to a mesh, to where I now can manipulate this. So you have verts, which is here, which these little dots are verts. And you basically have a vert wherever two lines or two or more lines intersect or are connected together. So then you have edges. So if I click here on the edge, again verts, if I click on a vert, and if you hold down your shift key, you can click on more than one, you know. And then you have faces. So if I click on the face, you know, and then if I want to move, if I just hold down my middle mouse button, I can just move the mouse around and I can spin my camera view, mouse wheel in and out. And then if I hold down shift and my mouse wheel at the same time, I can just move it in this type of direction. So this won't allow me to spin around it, but I can move the object to the left, to the right, and if I want to spin around it, then it's just middle mouse button. Now that being said, if I hit the 1 key, that'll lock me into a side view or front view of the object. Now see, if I just spin it, now it throws me off. But if I hit 1 again and I hold down shift and middle mouse, now as you can see, I can, without losing that focus right on that object, I can then move it. Now if I hit tab, now hit shift Z goes in the wireframe. So if I take it off here, I'll show you. See, it's wireframe. So wireframe, and let's go tab will get it back to being editable, where I can edit it. Now if I go to 1 again, I can see my verts, right? So if I click on these verts or these verts, now the red line is telling me where the base ground level is, or 0 is. See, if I highlight these, it's saying I'm at -1. But if I wanted to grab and hit Z and pull it up to about ground level or base level, 0 level, it'd be there. And it'll tell me what they are. It's not quite 100%. So to be 100%, I typed in the coordinates up here. Let's do global. I always want to be on global when I'm working. So that's how you can kind of manipulate that. A little bit more. Let's get out of the wireframe. Shift Z, take us out of the wireframe. If I tab, let's stay in edit mode. And again, T is your toolbar, pops up over here. You can hide it or bring it back if you want. And again, N is your properties, or what I like to call navigation bar over there. I believe if you grab this, yeah, see if you grab this little tool up here in your top right, you can spin around that way too, but I don't like using that myself too much. Okay, now if I go to face and click on this middle face, I can hit I, which will basically offset me some extra lines, brings them in here, just like so, which is basically called like inset. So you inset the lines in, or another set of lines, and then you can hit E for extend on that. So E extends, and I can go in or out either way, and say the same thing with the inset. There we go. I can inset it to whatever I want, going toward the middle, and then I can do extend again, inset, which is I, E for extend, and drop it in. There you go. Got me a little box with a hole in it. I'll go into more utilizing those tools going forward in another video, but I wanted to give you an idea how to move around, give you the the N for the properties of the objects you're messing with, T for some tools, which you got bevel. We haven't went over bevel yet, so let's do that real quick. Basically, let's say I selected edges, so I'm going to select the edge of this, hold down shift, select this one, move around, hold down shift, select that one, move around, hold shift, hold down that one. Or we could have just do shift Z to go wireframe and go right through the middle there and select all four of them, and then Z. So wireframe makes it really nice. Now if I do I believe it's, oh no, not Alt B, it'd be Control B, right? Yes, Control B will give me my beveled. Now if you want to add more lines, you use your mouse wheel and you scroll one click, two click, and you see it adds more lines, and you go all the way around, and you can scroll back, take some lines back out. You can adjust it to where you feel it look good, and it gives us more of a cylinder now. Or if you just wanted the bevel, so let's Control Z. Z would take us back. Let's do Control B, Bravo, and then we just wanted to round the corners a little bit. Is all we really wanted to do. Now we'll hit Tab, take us out of it, the edit mode, and you'll see that the corners are rounded. So that's bevel, inset, and extrude, extend or extrude tools. And of course your shift and middle mouse buttons for movement, shift Z for wireframe, and tab for your go into edit mode or out of edit mode. So I'll leave it at that for now, and we'll go over some more in the next video. Just want to keep these short so you can learn some quick tools. Alright, see you in the next video. If you like it, subscribe, thumbs up, whatever is fine. I just really making these videos to help people out who would like to learn to use some type of 3D program and work with NeverBlender. Alright, thanks a lot. See you at the next video.